To build and to cherish is much more difficult. That's why we can take a pride in the new Commonwealth we are building.
Do you know the truth that Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign has spanned more than 6 decades, is not only the sovereign of the United Kingdom, but also holds the title of monarch in 14 other countries, collectively known as the Commonwealth realms? These realms, scattered across the globe, include Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and several nations in the Caribbean and the Asia-Pacific region. The question is, how did our queen become the ruler of so many countries, and how did she perform a duty that most people thought was impossible? Find the answer in this video. The concept of the Commonwealth realms is rooted in historical ties to the British Empire, where territories were once under direct colonial rule. Over time, these territories pursued varying paths towards independence, either peacefully through negotiated transitions or through tumultuous struggles against British colonial dominance. The emergence of the Commonwealth realms signifies a unique relationship where the Queen serves as head of state, embodying a symbolic continuity with the colonial past while acknowledging the independent sovereignty of each realm. The Commonwealth realms are not to be confused with the Commonwealth of Nations, a larger association comprising 54 member states, many of which were also former British territories. Unlike the Commonwealth realms, where the Queen is sovereign, the Commonwealth of Nations operates as a voluntary association promoting international cooperation and shared values among its diverse member nations. This distinction underscores the dual role of Queen Elizabeth II as both a unifying symbol for Commonwealth realms and a figure of diplomatic engagement within the broader Commonwealth framework. The largest and most populous Commonwealth realms include the United Kingdom itself, Canada, Australia, Papua New Guinea, and New Zealand. Together, these nations encompass a combined population of approximately 150 million people, each possessing its own cultural identity and political landscape. Despite their independence, the presence of the monarchy in these realms remains a subject of debate and controversy, particularly in countries where historical grievances against British colonialism have shaped national identity and political discourse. In Canada, for instance, the monarchy has been a point of contention among those advocating for greater national autonomy and Indigenous sovereignty. Similarly, in Australia and New Zealand, discussions about the relevance of the monarchy persist alongside debates on constitutional reform and the rights of Indigenous peoples. These debates highlight the complexities of reconciling historical legacies with contemporary political realities, where symbols of monarchy evoke both reverence and critique within diverse societies. For Queen Elizabeth II, her role as monarch extends beyond ceremonial duties to encompass a symbolic presence in the public life of each Commonwealth realm. Her official duties include state visits, ceremonial functions, and engagements with elected officials, where she represents continuity and stability amidst the evolving landscapes of global politics and domestic affairs. Through these engagements, the Queen has forged diplomatic relationships and cultural ties that transcend borders, reflecting the enduring legacy of the Commonwealth as a network of shared values and mutual respect. To put it more specifically, Queen Elizabeth II holds a position that is deeply rooted in tradition, yet circumscribed by constitutional frameworks that define her role as largely ceremonial. As a constitutional monarch, her powers are symbolic rather than substantive, with political decisions entrusted to elected governments and implemented by prime ministers who serve as heads of government. This stands in stark contrast to political systems like that of the United States, where the president holds both the role of head of state and head of government. The concept of constitutional monarchy ensures that while Queen Elizabeth II is formally recognized as the head of state in Commonwealth realms, her involvement in day-to-day governance is strictly limited. Instead, her responsibilities primarily revolve around representing the state in ceremonial and diplomatic functions, embodying continuity and tradition within the constitutional framework of each realm. One of the most significant constitutional duties the Queen retains in the Commonwealth realms is the formal approval of new governments. Following elections, the Queen typically appoints the leader of the political party that commands the majority in the elected parliament as the Prime Minister. This process, known as forming a government, formalizes the transition of power and marks the beginning of the Prime Minister's tenure. Additionally, the Queen may have certain other constitutional duties depending on the country. For instance, in some realms, she may formally approve legislation passed by Parliament before it becomes law. This approval, known as royal assent, is a ceremonial act that signifies the final step in the legislative process. While royal assent is traditionally granted as a matter of course, its importance lies in maintaining the symbolic link between the monarch and the legislative process. Furthermore, the Queen may also play a role in the appointment of certain officials within the government and judiciary. Key appointments, such as those of governors general, who act as the Queen's representative in the realms outside of the United Kingdom, are made by her upon the advice of the Prime Minister or relevant authorities. Governors general perform important ceremonial and constitutional functions on behalf of the Queen, including the granting of royal assent to legislation and representing the Queen in official capacities. In some instances, the Queen may also confer state honors, such as knighthoods and other awards, upon individuals in recognition of their contributions to society. These honors are bestowed upon the advice of government ministers or independent committees, ensuring that they reflect national priorities and values. In practice, however, the day-to-day exercise of these constitutional powers is delegated to representatives appointed by the Queen. For example, governors general in Commonwealth realms outside of the UK carry out many of the ceremonial and constitutional functions traditionally associated with the monarch. They act as the formal channels through which the Queen's authority is exercised within the framework of each realm's constitution and legal system. In addition, Queen Elizabeth II occasionally possesses significant reserve powers that underscore the Crown's authority in exceptional circumstances. These reserve powers allow the monarch or their representative to intervene in governmental affairs, albeit sparingly and typically in matters of constitutional crisis. Since World War II, notable instances of the exercise of reserve powers include Australia's constitutional crisis of 1975. During this unprecedented event, the Governor-General, acting on behalf of the Queen, dismissed the sitting Prime Minister, Gough Whitlam, and appointed a new leader to resolve a deadlock between the House of Representatives and the Senate over budgetary matters. This action, known as the dismissal, remains a rare but consequential example of the Crown's reserve powers being invoked to resolve a political impasse. Fundamentally, however, the Queen's role in the Commonwealth realms is predominantly ceremonial and symbolic. She serves as the nonpartisan head of state, symbolizing constitutional continuity, national unity, and moral authority. Official documents, laws, and treaties are often marked with the royal seal, signifying royal approval and the authority of the Crown in governance. Moreover, the Queen's image adorns local currency, reinforcing her symbolic presence in everyday transactions and national identity. Beyond her constitutional duties, Queen Elizabeth II has cultivated personal relationships and a deep connection with the people of the Commonwealth realms through numerous visits and engagements. These trips serve to strengthen cultural ties, promote goodwill, and foster a sense of loyalty and affection towards the monarchy, even in countries where Republican sentiments are strong. For example, in Jamaica and other realms with active Republican movements, the Queen's visits have helped to maintain a positive perception of the monarchy and its historical ties to the region. The royal family, as an institution, has historically been a potent source of British soft power and diplomatic influence globally. The Queen, along with other members of the royal family, engages in diplomatic missions, state visits, and cultural exchanges that promote British interests and reinforce international relationships. This role extends beyond mere symbolism to encompass tangible contributions to diplomacy and national interests on a global scale. However, recent controversies, such as those involving accusations of racism within the royal family made by Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, have challenged the monarchy's reputation and influence in some Commonwealth realms. These allegations, coupled with public scrutiny and debates over the monarchy's relevance in modern society, highlight ongoing tensions and evolving perceptions of the institution. Despite these challenges, the monarchy continues to play a significant role in the cultural, historical, and political landscapes of the Commonwealth realms. Since World War II, nearly 20 former British territories have transitioned from constitutional monarchies to republics, a significant shift that reflects broader movements towards independence and the rejection of colonial legacies. Countries such as India, Nigeria, and Pakistan, among others, opted to establish republics, thereby replacing the Queen as their head of state with a president whose role is typically ceremonial, similar to the monarch's role in constitutional monarchies. This wave of transitions from monarchy to republic was driven by various factors, chief among them being the desire for full sovereignty and national identity, free from perceived remnants of colonial rule. For many countries, the monarchy symbolized a historical connection to British imperialism, which in the post-war era was increasingly viewed as incompatible with aspirations for self-governance and independence. Renouncing the monarchy and establishing a republican form of government represented a decisive step towards asserting national sovereignty and charting independent paths of political and social development. India, the largest and one of the earliest examples of such a transition, declared itself a republic in 1950, 3 years after gaining independence from British rule. The adoption of a republican constitution replaced the British monarch with a president as the ceremonial head of state, reflecting India's commitment to democratic principles and its aspiration to forge a distinct national identity rooted in its rich cultural heritage. Similarly, Nigeria, upon gaining independence in 1960, initially retained the monarchy with Queen Elizabeth II as its queen. However, in 1963, Nigeria became a republic, marking the formal end of its association with the British monarchy. The establishment of a republican system affirmed Nigeria's determination to govern itself independently and to shape its political institutions according to its own aspirations and needs. In Pakistan, the transition from monarchy to republic occurred in 1956, when the country adopted its first republican constitution. This move represented a significant milestone in Pakistan's quest for self-determination and in reshaping its governance structure to reflect the values and aspirations of its diverse population. For many of these countries, the decision to become republics was not merely a legal or procedural change, but a symbolic and transformative act. It represented a break from a colonial past that had often been marked by exploitation, cultural imposition, and political subjugation. By embracing republicanism, these nations sought to assert their independence, reclaim their cultural heritage, and redefine their relationships with former colonial powers on their own terms. The establishment of presidents as ceremonial heads of state in these republics also signaled a shift in political symbolism and national unity. While the role of the president varies across different countries, it generally includes functions such as representing the nation at ceremonial events, signing legislation into law, and serving as a unifying figure for the country's diverse population. Moreover, the transition to republics allowed these countries to participate more assertively on the global stage as equal members of the international community. It facilitated the development of diplomatic relations based on mutual respect and equality, rather than hierarchical ties rooted in colonial relationships. Nevertheless, The legacy of British colonialism and the monarchy's historical influence continues to shape political discourse and national identity in many former British territories. In some cases, debates persist about the relevance of the monarchy and its symbols in contemporary society, reflecting ongoing discussions about national unity, cultural identity, and governance structures. The 1970s marked a significant period when several Caribbean nations, including Dominica, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago, made the transition from being constitutional monarchies under the British Crown to becoming independent republics. This wave of departures continued into the following decades, with Mauritius, situated in the Indian Ocean, also choosing to shed its ties to the monarchy in 1992. However, one of the most recent and notable departures occurred with Barbados officially becoming a republic on November 30, 2021, marking a pivotal moment in its history and national identity. Barbados, an island nation in the Caribbean, has maintained a constitutional monarchy since gaining independence from the United Kingdom in 1966. For decades, Queen Elizabeth II had served as the symbolic head of state, represented locally by a governor-general appointed on her behalf. This arrangement was a vestige of Barbados's colonial past and reflected a historical connection to British rule that had shaped the island's governance and societal structures. The decision to become a republic was not abrupt, but the culmination of a gradual evolution in Barbados's political consciousness and aspirations for self-determination. Leaders and citizens alike had long debated the relevance of the monarchy in modern Barbadian society and the need to assert complete sovereignty free from any residual colonial influences. Governor-General Sandra Mason, in announcing Barbados's departure from the monarchy, framed the move as a natural progression towards fully embracing independence and leaving behind the shackles of colonial history. The timing of November 30, 2021, was chosen deliberately to coincide with the 55th anniversary of Barbados's independence from the UK, adding symbolic weight to the occasion. It represented a symbolic and substantive step towards consolidating Barbados's national identity and asserting its place as a self-governing nation on the world stage. The transition to a republic involved swearing in a Barbadian president to replace the monarch as the ceremonial head of state. This president, elected by the Parliament of Barbados, now represents the unity and sovereignty of the nation, performing duties similar to those previously held by the Governor-General, but with a distinctly national focus and legitimacy derived directly from the Barbadian people. The move to republic status has broader implications beyond ceremonial duties. It signifies Barbados's readiness to take full control of its governance, legal systems, and cultural narratives without external monarchical ties. It marks a reaffirmation of Barbadian values, traditions, and aspirations for the future, reflecting a maturation of its democratic institutions and a commitment to charting its own course in global affairs. Furthermore, becoming a republic positions Barbados within the community of nations that have similarly embraced republican forms of government, asserting its equality and independence among its peers. It strengthens Barbados's standing as a sovereign nation capable of shaping its destiny and participating fully in international relations on its own terms. The decision to transition to a republic was not without its challenges and considerations. It required careful planning, legislative amendments, and public dialogue to ensure a smooth and orderly transition that respected both the past and future aspirations of the Barbadian people. Debates surrounding the monarchy's legacy, its symbolic value, and its relevance in contemporary Barbadian society played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and political consensus leading up to the historic decision. One problem is that the decision by Barbados to transition to a republic has sparked renewed discussions and considerations among other Commonwealth realms, particularly those in the Caribbean, about their own relationships with the British monarchy. This move reflects broader societal shifts and historical reckonings, influenced in part by movements such as Black Lives Matter, which have brought issues of racial justice, colonial legacies, and reparations into sharper focus globally. In the Caribbean, the legacy of slavery and its profound impact on societies continues to resonate deeply. Many countries in the region were former British colonies, where enslaved Africans were forcibly brought to work on plantations that generated immense wealth for the British Empire. The repercussions of this history are still felt today in terms of social inequalities, economic disparities, and cultural identities. The protests and activism of 2020, including those in the UK, underscored a growing awareness and critique of Britain's historical role in slavery and colonial exploitation. Calls for accountability have included demands for reparations from European governments, including the UK, for their roles in perpetuating and benefiting from the transatlantic slave trade. Barbados, along with other members of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, has been at the forefront of these calls for reparations. They have pressed European governments to acknowledge their historical responsibilities and to provide reparatory justice to address the enduring legacies of slavery, including economic and social inequalities. Jamaica, another prominent Commonwealth realm in the Caribbean, has been actively engaged in these discussions. The movement to break ties with the monarchy has gained momentum, driven by a desire to assert full sovereignty and to reckon with the historical injustices of colonialism. Prime Minister Andrew Holness's announcement in March 2022 that Jamaica intends to become fully independent of the monarchy reflects this evolving sentiment and aspiration for self-determination. The petition from Jamaica to Queen Elizabeth II for reparations further underscores the complexity of the relationship between former colonies and the monarchy. It highlights not only the symbolic and ceremonial aspects of the monarchy's role, but also the unresolved historical grievances and calls for redress that continue to shape national narratives and aspirations. Clearly, the decision by Barbados to transition from a constitutional monarchy to a republic has sparked debate among analysts and experts regarding the potential ripple effects on other Commonwealth realms. While some see Barbados as a potential tipping point that could influence other countries to reconsider their ties to the crown, opinions vary on the broader impact and likelihood of similar transitions occurring elsewhere. Richard Drayton, a historian at King's College, has suggested that Barbados's move could indeed inspire other nations, particularly within the Caribbean, to reassess their relationships with the monarchy. The symbolic significance of Barbados's decision, framed as a culmination of independence and a break from colonial legacies, resonates with ongoing discussions about national identity and sovereignty across the region. However, Aaron Kamugisha, a scholar at the University of the West Indies in Barbados, provides a contrasting perspective. He believes that the impact of Barbados's decision may be limited, pointing out that each country has unique circumstances and considerations governing their constitutional arrangements. Some countries, he notes, have stricter requirements for constitutional changes that could make transitions to republicanism more challenging. In Canada, for example, any move towards becoming a republic would necessitate constitutional reform. This process would require the unanimous assent of the 10 provinces, in addition to approval by the federal parliament. Despite growing support for republicanism in Canada, which has increased notably in recent years, it remains below a majority. The popularity of Queen Elizabeth II, who has maintained a level of respect and admiration among Canadians throughout her reign, adds a layer of complexity to discussions about the monarchy's future in the country. The Queen's personal popularity and the respect she commands are seen as factors that could influence public sentiment and political decisions regarding the monarchy in Commonwealth realms. Unlike other members of the royal family, Queen Elizabeth II has garnered widespread respect for her dedication to duty, stability, and continuity over decades of service. Her successor, however, may face greater challenges in maintaining the same level of public support, which introduces an element of unpredictability into future discussions about the monarchy's role. What do you think about Queen Elizabeth II being the monarch of 15 countries? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.